Mathematics is fun, you can do it. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we will be discussing about differentiating mark-on, markdown, and markup. So, let's get started. So hello everyone, we will be discussing about the next lesson as a continuation of partitive proportion. We have here differentiating mark-on, markdown, and markup. So let's start with the objectives. Under the knowledge domain, you are expected to define and differentiate mark-on, markdown, and markup. Under the skill domain, you are expected to compute for the markup, markdown, mark-on, and margin percentages of given commodities or services based on stated conditions. And under affective domain, at the end of this video lesson, you are expected to appreciate the application of markup, markdown, and mark-on on business enterprises in a changing environment. Okay, let's start with a pre-activity. Assume that you will be planning for a food sale in front of your house and you decided to sell banana Q. Upon planning on your new business, you come up with a thought on how much will a stick of banana Q cost. So what would be your basis in determining the cost of a stick of banana Q? In order to determine the cost per stick of banana Q, list all the ingredients and materials you will need for the banana Q business. So we have here a table wherein it composes of two columns. First column composes of raw materials, and we have here the second column for the expenses. Okay, so we have the raw materials. We have banana, specifically the variety is saba or saba in our dialect. We have the sticks, sugar, cooking oil, and for the expenses, we have the space for selling, cook's salary, vendor's salary, the tissue and the wrapper for takeout orders, as well as the LPG. Okay. Now, based on the above list of materials and expenses needed to start the business, you will estimate the cost of the raw materials you will need for the banana Q. So, let's start with the raw materials first. For the banana or the saba, the estimated cost is 2 pesos per piece. Okay? For the sticks, you have 20 pesos per bundle, and that consists of 100 sticks per bundle. Then for sugar, we have 50 pesos per kilo. Then for cooking oil, you have 50 pesos per liter. Then how many sticks of banana Q do they intend to sell per day? Then let us say that you're going to sell 100 sticks per day. Based on the number, you will estimate the amount of raw materials per day you would need and come up with the following. So, let us say that this will be the estimation of the amount of raw materials per day you need. So, you will have 200 pieces of bananas, 1 kilogram of sugar, 1 liter of oil, and 100 sticks. So, from here, the cost of the raw materials per day can already be easily determined. So, for the raw materials for the banana, since it's 2 pesos per piece, so since you need 200, that's 200 times 2, that's a total cost of 400. For the sticks, since you need 100 sticks, and there is 100 sticks per bundle, which is 20 pesos. So, you have here 20 pesos. Then, sugar, although you need 1 kilogram of sugar, the sugar there before here is 50 per kilo. However, let's say you need 1.5. So, we'll just estimate that as 75 pesos in case you need more. Okay? So, for cooking oil, you have there 1 liter of oil. Let's just estimate the cost, which is 50 pesos. So, a total of 545 pesos for the cost of the raw materials. Okay, let's proceed. Now, it's time to account for the other additional expenses. So, the other expenses would be the space for selling. Let's say that's 5% of the profit. The cook's salary is 400 pesos. the vendor's salary is 400 pesos, the tissue is 50 pesos, and the wrapper for takeout orders you have 50 pesos. A total of 900 pesos plus the 5% profit. We cannot estimate this one because we don't know yet our profit. We will just get the 5% of that. Okay. Note that it is possible to resort to avoiding the expenses for the cooks and vendors' salaries by assuming that roles yourself without expecting any pay. Still, it is important to note that these are expenses that actual business owners must plan for. Okay? So based on these estimates, what would be your intended selling price of your banana Q per stick? So you already have the raw materials, the materials and the cost of your raw materials and other expenses. So this time you are asked, based on these estimates, what would be your intended selling price of your banana Q per stick, so you can get a reasonable profit at the end of the day. Okay. Now before that, let's proceed to the discussion. So what is a cost price? Now, a cost price is the price that a company or store has to pay for the goods it is going to sell, the price that has to be spent to produce goods or services before any profit is added. Now, this is actually computed on a per unit basis. In the previous activity, the cost price refers to the price of the raw materials needed to produce the banana Q. Okay. How about the operating cost? Now, the operating cost is the price per unit incurred relative to the production and sale of a commodity. So, in the previous example, the operating cost would be those additional expenses that have to be incurred in the actual selling of the banana Q, such as expenses for preparing the space where you sell your banana Q, the salaries of manpower, and other incidental expenses. Okay. Now, some businesses may choose to include the cook's salary as part of the cost price. Note that this is acceptable. In fact, if the only product of the business is banana Q, then the cook's salary can reasonably be included in the cost price. If, however, the banana Q is not the only product being sold by the business, then it might be a better option to include the cook's salary as part of the operating expense of the business. So what about the selling price? Now, the selling price is the price at which the commodity is sold per unit. And the profit is money earned after the cost price and the operating cost are accounted for after the sale of a commodity. So in the activity, the profit would be the difference between the selling price of banana Q multiplied by 100, assuming all 100 sticks are sold out, and the total of the cost of the raw materials and other expenses detailed in the previous activity. Now, how about markup? Markup is the difference between the selling price and the cost price. This is sometimes referred to as margin or gross profit. Now, to compute for the selling price, we have here, always remember that the selling price is equal to the cost price plus the operating cost plus the profit. So in symbol, we have here S is equal to C plus E plus P, where S represents your selling price, C is the cost price, E is the operating expenses, and P is for profit. And to compute for the markup is equal to the selling price minus the cost price. You have markup is equal to the selling price minus the cost price in symbol. Thus, MU is equal to S minus C, where MU is markup, S is selling price, and C is the cost price. Okay. Note the significant difference between markup and profit. While profit accounts for both the cost price and operating costs incurred by the business owner, markup only accounts for the cost of raw materials necessary to produce the item being produced for sale. So let's have an example. Aling Ana would like to sell little trinkets she purchased from Divisoria for 12 pesos each. If the operating cost is set at 25% of the cost, and she would like to have a 15% profit in the cost of each item. Letter A, determine the markup price for each trinket. Letter B, help Aling Ana determine the selling price for each trinket. By the way, class, trinkets or a trinket is actually a small decorative object or a piece of jewelry that is cheap or of low quality. And how about Divisoria? Are you familiar with Divisoria? Okay, Divisoria is actually widely known for its low-cost marketplace. Okay, it's located in the commercial center of Tondo. Divisoria's diverse manufacturing and retailing activities that has attracted customers and tourists to give its products a try. So this is very popular. Okay, it is a commercial located in the commercial center of Tondo in Manila. Okay, so let's start with the solution. Okay, given for letter A, we have determined the markup price for each trinket. So the cost price is 12 pesos. Our expenses, it says here. Okay, let's go back. Aling Ana would like to sell little trinkets she purchased from Divisoria for 12 each. If the operating cost is set 25%, okay, the operating cost or the operating expenses is set 25%, that's E, okay, of the cost, meaning that's E, or the operating cost is 25% of the cost. So you have here, since the cost price is 12, therefore 25% of the cost, that is 0.25 times 12. Then we also have, she would like to have 15% profit of the cost of each item. So profit is equal to 15% of the cost, so that is 0.5 times 0.15 times 12. Okay, since we are asked to find the markup price for each trinket, so we will have the markup price or MU and selling price. So we have here, since remember the markup is equal to the selling price minus the cost price, and the selling price is equal to the cost price plus the operating expenses plus the profit. So it follows that the markup is equal to the operating expenses plus the profit. Since we have here MU is equal to E plus P. Okay, so why is this so again? So if we are going to, we have here this is S. So if we are going to transpose C to the other side, it becomes S minus C. So S minus C is equal to E plus P. And since M markup is equal to S minus C, therefore algebraically we can have markup is equal to E plus P. I hope you get the point. Okay, meaning this is our first equation. Markup is equal to S minus C, or we have here the selling price minus the cost price. And since the selling price is equal to the cost price plus the expenses plus the profit. Again, if this is transposed, if the cost price is transposed to the other side of the equation, this becomes S minus C. And remember, S minus C is equal to MU or markup. Therefore, what retains here would be E plus P. So that would be S minus C is equal to E plus P. And since S minus C is equal to markup, therefore, markup is equal to E plus P. Okay, so let's go back to letter A. We have markup is equal to the operating expenses plus the profit. Since it's given, you have your 25% of the cost is the operating expenses or operating cost. We have 0.25 times 12. And the profit is 15% of the cost. That is 0.15 times 12. That gives us 3 plus 1.80. So you have now the markup, which is 4 pesos and 80 centavos. So the markup price for each trinket is 4 pesos and 80 centavos. Okay. So we are done answering letter A. Now letter B. Help Aling Ana determine the selling price for each trinket. So how are we going to solve for the selling price? We know already the markup. The markup price is 4.80. Okay. And we know already the cost price. Therefore, going back to the formula, we have the selling price is equal to the cost price plus the markup. Remember, the markup is equal to the operating expenses plus the profit. Therefore, we will just add this one. That's markup. So we have the cost price is 12 and the markup is 4.80. That's 12 plus 4.80 is equal to 16 pesos and 80 centavos. Therefore, the selling price for each trinket is 16 pesos and 80 centavos. Since markup is equal to selling price minus cost price, by algebraic manipulation, it follows that the selling price is equal to the cost price plus the markup. Okay? So I hope you were able to get example number 1. Okay? Now let us proceed. Example number 2. Now, a jacket which costs 1,350 pesos is being sold at 2,025 pesos. What is the rate of markup based on cost? Now, the solution, we have the rate of markup based on cost. Okay, we have here the solution. So, the markup based on cost we have in percent is markup over the cost. Times 100% because we are asked to find the rate. So, we will have, so a jacket which costs 1,350 is being sold at 2,025. Therefore, this is now the selling price. Now, we have here the selling price minus the cost price over the cost price. So, we will get the rate of markup based on cost. Since it's 1,350 is our cost price. So that's 2,025 minus 1,350 over 1,350. And the answer is 0.5. Multiply that by 100% or 100. We have, the answer is 50%. So the jacket has a 50% markup based on its cost. So note that it's being asked in example 2 is the rate of markup. Now, as discussed in the previous lesson, rate is a ratio that compares two quantities. Now, example 2, the two quantities being compared are the markup and the cost of the jacket. Now, it would be very essential that you understand the problem before solving it. So, you have to analyze really the problem properly. Okay? Next, let's proceed to example number 3. So, we have here a top cost Mang Mario 280 pesos and he decides to mark it up by 30% of the selling price. Find the selling price and markup for the said top. Okay, we have here the solution. That's 100% minus 30% is equal to 70%. So how do we get this one? We have here the cost of top is 70% of the selling price. How do you get this one? So we have here, remember the cost price is equal to the selling price is minus the markup. Because our markup is equal to the selling price minus the cost price. So we can also do this, manipulate the formula. Okay? So we have here the cost price is equal to the selling price minus, we have here the markup, we have 30% of the selling price. It is given that the markup is 30% of the selling price. Therefore, we will have the cost price is equal to the selling price minus the 0.30 times S or selling price. Since markup is 30% of the selling price. Therefore, we have the cost price is equal to, okay, remember S here has 1 as the numerical value or numerical coefficient. So you have 1 minus 0.30, that gives us 0.70. Common variable is S. So we have 0.70 S. Therefore, we will have, okay, so C is equal, or the cost price is equal to, we have 0.70 S. Okay, so 70% of the selling price is our cost price. And we have here 280, that is our cost price. We just substitute the value of our cost price with 280 is equal to 0.70 S, our selling price. Then divide both sides with the equation by, divide both sides of the equation by 0.70 to eliminate 0.70 here. So we will retain S. So that's 280 over 0.70. Therefore, the selling price is 400 pesos. Okay. So we have here the selling price. So we have answered already the first question. Find the selling price. Now the next would be find the markup for the said top. Okay, since we have here Mang Mario sells the top at 400 pesos. Remember, the markup is equal to the selling price minus the cost price. Since we already solved for the selling price, it will be very easy for us to solve for the markup. We have markup is equal to the selling price is 400 and the given cost price is 280. Therefore, the markup is equal to 120 pesos. Therefore, the markup of the top is 120 pesos. Okay, so it's just very simple. So another common scenario for a startup business has been illustrated in example 3. Sometimes markup is based on rate, like example 3. Now, pretend that during the actual food sale, you realize that there is such a high demand for your banana queue and that buyers can easily afford the selling price you have pegged. Some businesses will want to take advantage of this peak season and thus increase the prices already pegged for their commodities. And this is what we call mark on. Okay, so let's continue. Always remember, class, that to compute for the selling price, okay, I mean here, to compute for the mark on, you have here the peak selling price minus regular selling price. In symbol, we have MO is equal to PS minus S, wherein our PS is peak selling price and S is the regular selling price. And MO is mark on. Now, some of the common reasonable instances where mark on is observed. A calamity has hit the source of a raw material or commodity, therefore affecting its supply. Seasonal demands like Christmas items, Valentine's, etc. We also have special occasion is being celebrated or commemorative, death anniversary, etc. Okay? So this is where we experience the mark on. Okay? So let's have an example. We have here, Manang Krising observes that market goers prefer to buy fish from here. Again, Manang Krising observes that market goers prefer to buy fish from her because there is an undersupply of meat in the market this season. She then decides to increase the price of galunggong by 10 pesos per kilo. If the cost of galunggong is 90 pesos per kilo with a 35% markup, what is its new selling price with additional increase of 10 pesos? By how much is the rate of markup based on cost increased by adding 10 pesos to the regular selling price of the galunggong? Okay, solution. So in order to understand what mark on is, let's consider this example. So the markup is given to be 35% of, we have here, if the cost of galunggong, 90 pesos per kilo with a 35% markup, okay, what is its new selling price? So first and foremost, we're going to get the markup. So we have here the markup is equal to 0.35 times the selling price. Then markup is equal to 0.35 times 90. Okay. Then we have here that 35% of 90 or 90 times 0.35 is 31.50. So this is our markup. Okay. Now the selling price before increase. By the way, this is the cost. This is supposed to be C. Okay. So that is the markup is 35% of the cost price. This is supposed to be C, letter C. We will use letter C. So that is 35% of the cost, wherein the markup is 31.50. Now the selling price before the increase. So remember, the selling price is equal to the cost price plus the markup. And the cost price is 90. Okay, for a moment, let's make a correction. This is C. So you won't be confused. Okay. Then we have here the selling price before increase. We have selling price is equal to the cost price plus the markup. The selling price is equal to the cost price is 90. The markup that we have just solved, we have 31 pesos and 50 centavos. We have 90 plus 31.50. Therefore, our selling price before the increase is 121 pesos and 50 centavos. Now, the selling price after increase. So, what would be the selling price after increase? We have here the selling price is equal to the regular price which plus the mark on. Remember, our regular price is 121.50 or 121 pesos and 50 centavos. We have it here. Okay. And then we have our mark on given is 10 pesos. So we'll add that one. Our selling price, new selling price would be 131 pesos and 50 centavos. Okay. So we have solved already the new selling price after the increase, after the mark on of 10 pesos. We have solved the original selling price as well as the markup. Now this time, since we are asked by how much is the rate of markup based on cost increased by adding 10 to the regular selling price of the galunggong. So we'll have combined rate of markup and mark on. So the combined rate of markup and mark on would be the markup is 31.50 or 31 pesos and 50 centavos plus the mark on which is 10 pesos. Okay? All over 90. Then times 100. So it gives us 0.4611 or 46.11%. Hence, the markup is increased by 46.11% to minus 35%. So we have here by how much rate of markup based on cost. Okay. That's 11.11% by the additional mark on of 10 pesos imposed by Manang Crising. Okay. So this is the rate of markup increase. Okay? When we add 10 pesos for the regular, from the regular selling price of galunggong. So 11.11%. Okay, let's proceed. Notice that an example 4, Manang Crising takes the opportunity and raised the price of galunggong. Remember that the original price of galunggong already has a markup. Because of the demand and she has the supply, she then raised the price per kilo. Remember the law of supply and demand in your economic subject during junior high school? Okay? When the demand increases, or they say when the supply decreases, the demand increases. Meaning, the demand and the supply are inversely proportional. Now, such instance is an example of a mark on. Okay. Now, let us proceed to example number 5. Now, let's consider example number 5. Another example of mark-on. Yeah. Yvette's flower shop imposes a 45% markup on flowers delivered to them for sale. During All Saints' Day, however, an additional mark-on of 25% of the regular selling price is added on. Determine the unit price of 300 roses worth 15,000 pesos delivered to Yvette's flower shop during All Saints' Day. Now, how much is the selling price of each rose during All Saints' Day at this flower shop? Okay, solution. The unit price will be solved by just simply dividing 15,000 pesos divided by 300 roses. So that is equal to 50 pesos. So the markup, it says that, let's go back to the problem, imposes a 45% markup on flowers delivered to them for sale. So the markup would be 45% of the cost. Okay? So let us solve first the markup. So 0.45 times the cost. The cost is 50 per piece or per unit. So you have 0.45 times 50. So we have the markup is 22.50. Now let us proceed. We have here the selling price. Since we have here 22.50 as our markup, and remember the selling price is equal to the cost price plus the markup. Therefore, the selling price is equal to 50, which is the cost price, and the markup, which is 22.50. So our selling price is 72.50. Okay, I hope you were able to follow. Okay, the next would be the mark-on. So the mark-on, it says that we have here an additional mark-on of 25% of the regular selling price is added on. So the mark-on would be 0.25 times the selling price, the original selling price. And the original selling price, as we have solved, is 72.50 or 72 pesos and 50 centavos. Therefore, it is 0.25 times 72 pesos and 50 centavos. Therefore, the mark-on is equal to, okay, 72.5 times 0.25 is 18.15. Okay, this is there's a typo error with this one, or it is estimately or approximately 18 pesos 0.15. The question is, how much is the selling price of each rose during All Saints' Day at this flower shop? So we will add the mark on to the original selling price. So the new price during this peak season we have is equal to the original selling price plus the mark on. We have 72.50 plus 18.15. So the new selling price is 90 pesos and 65 centavos. Each rose sells for 90 pesos and 65 centavos at Yvette's flower shop during All Saints' Day. So I hope that everything is clear so far for example number 5. Now let us proceed. Previous examples show an increase of price, hence mark up or mark on. Now let us go back to our pre-activity. This time, consider that the sale of your banana queue is coming in slow. You may need to sell it at a discounted price or what is commonly known as the sale price. So now we will encounter the word markdown. Markdown is the difference between the regular selling price and the sale price. To compute for the markdown, we have markdown is equal to the selling price minus the sale price. So markdown is equal to selling price minus the sale price, where markdown is MD represents markdown, S represents the selling price, and SP represents the sale price. Okay, now markdowns commonly happen when the mall decides to sell their items at cut down prices to clear the warehouse collection. For instance, some items which usually sold for 150 pesos are sold at 50% discount off during mall sales, and so the markdown price is set at 75 pesos. Now, other instances of markdown are the following. Okay, example, the item is a perishable item and it is best to dispose of it sooner than simply throw it away. Or the item has become dirty or worn out or possibly out of style. Or it could be competition forces the marking down of an item. Okay, so remember that rates of markdowns are always computed based on the selling price. Note that it is possible that instead of making the business owner earn a positive profit, selling an item on sale sometimes give a rise to a negative profit. Now in this case, the profit is said to be a loss. When an item is given a selling price where the profit ends up being zero, this is said to be the break-even price. In this case, the selling price is simply equal to the total of the cost price and the operating expenses. Okay, let's have example number 6. So to understand better the sale price, let's have this example. Carlo was able to buy a pair of shoes regularly priced at 3,500 pesos for only 2,100 pesos. Letter A, what was the amount of the markdown? Letter B, what was the rate of the markdown? Okay, the solution would be the markdown or the rate of the markdown is equal to the markdown over the regular price or selling price, regular selling price times 100. So, we will have the markdown is actually, okay, to find the amount of markdown is just very easy. We will just simply subtract the regular selling price minus the sale price. The regular selling price of the pair of shoes is 3,500 and the sale price is 2,100. Okay? So we have the markdown, the amount of markdown is 1,400. So we have here, and to get the percent, we have 1,400 divided by the amount of, or the regular price, the regular selling price. So 1,400 over 3,500 times 100, that gives us 40%. So the amount of the markdown is 1,400, which is equivalent to a 40% markdown. Okay. Now for buyers to save money, they wait until a sale has been offered by the store that they want to purchase the product they like. And for the business side, make sure that whenever you mark down your product, see to it you still have a profit after markdown. Consider the next example wherein a sale has been made on a board game. Okay. Let's have the last example. During a Midnight Madness sale, a board game regularly priced at 8,500 pesos was sold at 55% discount. The cost of the board game is 3,450 pesos. And expenses are 14% of the regular selling price. Okay, letter A. What is the sale price of the board game? So letter A, for the solution, we have 100% minus 55%. Since it's 55% discount, we could say that the sale price of the board game would be 45% of the selling price. So we have the sale price is equal to 0.45 times the regular selling price. Therefore, the sale price is equal to 0.45 and the regular selling price is 8,500. The sale price would be 3,825. So the sale price of the board game is 3,825. Letter B. What is the profit or loss made on sale? Now for us to see the sale or we have to get, for us to know the profit or loss, we have the profit or loss. The sale price of the board game again is 3,825. Then we have here the cost or the total cost is equal to the cost plus the operating expenses. So we have here, okay, so we have here the total cost is equal to 3,450 plus the 14% of the expenses. We have here 40 of the regular selling price. The regular selling price is 8,500. Okay, so we will have again the cost price. The total cost is equal to cost price plus the operating expenses. So we have the total cost is the cost price, which is 3,450 plus 14% of the regular price is 14% of 8,500 is 4,640. So we're going to add that one. We will have 4,000. So 3,450 plus the 14% of 8,500, that gives us 4,640. So the profit would be the sale price minus the total cost. Okay, so we would know if it is negative or positive. It is positive, meaning we can have a profit. If it's negative, we have a we get the loss. Okay, so we have profit is equal to 3,825 minus 4,640. Therefore, the profit is negative 815 pesos. Therefore, it's loss. So the loss made on the sale was 815 pesos. Okay, so I hope that you understand number 7. Now, the very nature of a business is to gain profit. Hence, before marking down a product you are selling, compute the costs and expenses you have for such item before giving a discount for it. Else, you might gain a negative income, which is loss in the end. Notice that example 6 and 7 can also be solved using the formula for discount. Markdown and discount are the same in some aspect. Discounts will be discussed on the succeeding topic. Now, what have you learned? So, understanding how inflation and deflation of price is vital in any commercial enterprise, in addition to the customer. Now, these matters are what we call markup, markdown, and mark on. We can use this learning and apply it in our daily lives. Like when we are in a business posting markdowns for sale and markups and mark on for profit on your reselling, these are the most common applications that we must know. Okay, so let's have a post test. Okay, read and understand each item carefully, then solve for what is being asked. Number 1. So you are going to answer this on your business math activity notebook. Okay, number 1. Julia buys a notebook with a cost of 45 pesos. The rate of markup based on cost is 25%. Find the selling price, that's for letter A, and B is markup. Number 2. Peter decides to impose a markup of 5 pesos on each pen he sells to his classmates and friends. This represents a 20% markup based on the selling price. Find the cost, that's A, and the selling price of the pens Peter sells, that's letter B. Number 3. Find the regular selling price, that's letter A, and B, cost price of memorabilia items being sold for 500 pesos if the markup is set at a rate of 25% of the cost price with an approved 15% mark on rate based on the cost price included because of a special event. Okay, number 4. Super Mall paid 15,000 pesos for a set of dishes. Expenses are 18% of the selling price, while the required profit is 15% of the selling price. During an inventory sale, the set of dishes was marked down by 30%. Letter A, what was the regular selling price? Letter B, what was the sale price? And letter C, what was the profit or loss? Number 5. Harris Hardware realizes a markup of 34 pesos and 50 centavos if it sells an item at a markup of 40% of the selling price. Letter A, what is the regular selling price? Letter B, what is the cost? Letter C, What is the rate of markup based on cost? Letter D, if overhead expenses are 27% of cost, what is the break-even price? Letter E, what is the operating profit or loss if the article is sold for 75 pesos? Okay, so you have to answer those 5 problems in your activity business math notebook. So I hope you learned something in today's video lesson. That would be all. And to end this video, let's have a math quote. Go down deep enough into anything and you will find mathematics. So thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe my channel.